It was bound to happen. The Vikings were going to lose a game at some point this season. It happened on Sunday. Lions 31, Vikings 29. Back and forth game. Really a tale of kind of 4 segments to this game, right? Vikings jump out to a 10-0 lead. Detroit goes for it inexplicably. Fake punt, fool nobody. Gifts the Vikings their first touchdown. They go up 10-0. Next thing you know, though, Detroit is back at it, 21-10 at the break. Vikings come right out at halftime. After halftime score, probably Sam Darnold's best throw of the day, touchdown to Justin Jefferson. Lions look like they're going to stay one step ahead of him until that crucial fumble return for a touchdown by Ivan Pace Jr. gives the Vikings a 29-28 lead with about 6 minutes left. They cannot hold it, though. Some critical errors down the stretch, and that's what we need to talk about right now. The critical errors down the stretch. You know, we're not going to sit here and say sky is falling, right? Sky's not falling. They're 5-1. They played a really good team, and they could have won the game. But those are the kinds of games that can separate you at the end of the year. You're home against Detroit. Detroit is last year's division winner. You're looking at it, and you're up at home with 6 minutes left, and you get the ball back because your defense forces a punt. You get the ball back. You get a chance to salt the game away with about 4 minutes left, and you can't get a first down there. That is critical mistake. Probably number 2. Critical mistake number 1 is I don't know what their 2-point conversion play was after that defensive touchdown, but it was not good. I don't know if the pass was just bad and if it was deflected. I don't like the play design. Just didn't look like it. They sometimes those conversions look easy. That did not look easy at all. So you had that. Then you get the ball back with 4 minutes left. And Aaron Jones run 5 yards. That's exactly what you want on first down. Mike Zanata on Twitter saying, Darnold checking out of a pass to a run on the Vikings' last second down of the game is where the game was lost ultimately. I'll have to go back and look at it, but it did look like he canned a play, and they did end up running the ball with Jones. They get 1 yard, setting up a 3rd and 4. He said that sets up a do-or-die 3rd and medium. 3rd and 4 is manageable. You'd like to think you could get 3rd and 4, but it does set you up where one play you got to punt. He said also the Lions are just a better team overall with a much better quarterback, so shruggy guy emoji. But yeah, if he checked out of, they're putting a lot on Sam Darnold, more than we probably thought they would at the beginning of the year, right? They're kind of asking him to do a lot of the kind of this or that checks at the line of scrimmage, a lot of the stuff Kirk Cousins was doing with a much larger, more comprehensive grasp of the offense than Sam Darnold have. And I've noticed Darnold, when he checks, more often than not, it's into a run, not a pass. And in this case, if that was the case, I have to go back and look at it. We'll have to hear from them post-game. But if that's what happened, checks into a run, they get a yard, they wind up at 3rd and 4. And then there's all sorts of confusion, it looks like, on that 3rd and 4 play. Darnold rolls right. You had both, I think, Addison, they were saying Naylor on the broadcast, but it looked like Addison and Jefferson wind up on the same place on the right side. So Addison's short, Jefferson's deeper. Ball sails, incomplete pass, 4th down. Vikings have to punt. Detroit brings it down, works the clock. Game-winning field goal with 15 seconds left. Some curious clock management by the Lions at the end. The kneel downs kind of give the Vikings a little bit of a gasp at the end with 15 seconds left, especially when they kicked it deep. But there, Darnold probably took too much time on their one real play, wound up, basically clock expires on him. He gets sacked when they get a gift really in one more play at the 45. So I don't know. You look at it for more of this game than not, the game looked easier for Detroit than it did for the Vikings. That was one of my big takeaways. It looked easier for Detroit than it did for the Vikings. It looked easier for Detroit to score, to get open. When Detroit is at its best, it looks like the Lions are better than the Vikings. But the Vikings still had enough firepower, enough potential to be right there with them in the end. And if you look at the final stats, they are remarkably similar. We're just going to look at the team stats right now. Yardage. Vikings 383, Lions 391. The passing yards and rushing yards were almost identical, 244 passing for the Vikings, 247 for the Lions. Rushing yards were only 5 different, 144, 139. Time of possession was almost equally split. Turnovers were equally split, 1-1. Again, though, the one was a Darnold misread, had a guy underneath. I think it was Jones. He decides to throw it further downfield, doesn't see the defender undercut the route. Boom. Interception at a crucial moment of the game when the Vikings are trying to reestablish momentum. So, not the best Sam Darnold game, right? Not the worst. Kind of a reestablishes kind of the ground, kind of the middle ground for what you might hope to get out of him for the season, right? He made some mistakes. He's not going to win you a lot of games, and that's the problem. He's not going to win you a lot of games. At his best, he's probably more of a game manager. Now, they did play from behind a lot today, and they were able to retake the lead, albeit on the strength primarily of that defensive touchdown. Darnold did get them from 28-17 to 28-23 with a pair of field goal drives. But from there, it was the defensive touchdown that got them the lead that they couldn't quite hold. Darnold on the day, 22 of 27, 259, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, a 103.5 passer rating. It's a good day. It's a perfectly fine day of quarterbacking. He also ran relatively effectively, had 4 carries for 39 yards. I think his QBR at the end of the day is going to be pretty decent. I haven't seen his QBR yet, but I think that's going to be pretty decent. But Mike on Twitter saying Goff is much better than Darnold. Yeah, I mean, I think Goff is certainly a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. Goff was great today, 22 of 25 for 280, 2 scores, no picks, a 140 passer rating. He played clean all day, got him down the field for the winning score. He's been playing lights out football. To me, the game was certainly lost at the end, but it was lost more in the middle. And I felt like the coaching, Brian Flores, wasn't able to diagnose what Detroit was doing fast enough. The blitzes seemed like they were coming from the wrong places. Detroit was just carving them up. The 4 straight touchdown drives. That's where, to me, the game is won or lost. Not on a last drive, one final play. It's that middle of the game where the Vikings go from 10 up to 11 down constantly, and all those touchdowns at the Lions, they don't have an answer for them at that point. I feel like that is the point at which they are letting it slip away. I asked you guys on Twitter, on X, how you divide up the blame for this game: offense, defense, or adjustments. It's really close. Coaching/adjustments is up right now with a little over 200 votes, 38%. Offense takes 36%, defense at 26%. I think that does show you there is blame to go around. There's blame to go around in this game. You can look at it. You can say, defense makes 1 or 2 more plays. Yeah, they had the big play with the strip, the punch out, and the run back for the touchdown that got them the lead, but they give up 31 points. That's a lot of points. It's a lot of yards to a good offense, frankly, but to a team that, if you make one more stop, you win that game. If you stop the bleeding in the middle of that game, maybe you turn this thing around. I don't think it was Kevin O'Connell's greatest game from a play calling standpoint. They tried to get Justin Jefferson throwing the ball. That was kind of a weird spot in the game. Led to a field goal drive. I mean, it wasn't like a costly play. They got like 3 yards when he ends up running it, but that seemed kind of weird to me. It didn't seem like they were scheming guys open as consistently. Yeah, they got Addison finally on a deep ball. They got Jefferson on that one for a touchdown, but overall, felt like things were coming harder than they needed to. The Detroit had a lot more easy throws than the Vikings did. And maybe some of that's a function of Detroit's offensive line. Their offensive line is just better. They're more experienced. They were giving Jared Goff more clean pockets, but I did think that things were easier for Detroit than they were for the Vikings, and that's a product of talent, but it's also a product of coaching. The defense, gets its share of the blame, especially because they couldn't make a stop at the end, and of course because of the 28 points they gave up before that final drive. Now, looking at it holistically, I think Blake Cashman, his absence really hurt. Aaron Jones played. He played well. He had a good game, almost 100 yards, had the long running touchdown that got him on the board. I thought he was good in this game. He caught passes too. Didn't look like he was feeling too much of the effect on injuries. You saw the drop off immediately. Ty Chandler comes into the game, picks up a holding penalty on a critical drive. They just couldn't get anything going offensively in kind of those middle quarters. Really couldn't rev it up until that next drive of the third quarter. The second quarter was just really stagnant. Will Reichard continues to be a great story, continues to make all his kicks, but I do feel like they're going to have to get a little bit more offensive consistency. So, looking at it going forward, a couple things. One, I think they need TJ Hawkinson. I was worried a few weeks ago that the return of TJ Hawkinson at some point would create this imbalance on the roster where they'd be tempted to throw it more. I think at this point they really need him back. They needed a more dynamic playmaker in the middle of the field, someone to take the attention away from the wide receivers, someone who can make linebackers play honest. Things like that. So I think that's going to be a big thing. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dalton Risner very soon supplant Ed Ingram. It wasn't the worst Ed Ingram day. I think he had a penalty early on, but he did not necessarily hold up all the time either. So I'm wondering if that will be a switch they make to try to get some better pass protection with Dalton Risner. Big picture, though, this division just got a lot tighter, right? This was the Vikings dominating or in control of a great division, and now it's a whole pack mentality. Vikings and Lions both 5-1. Detroit wins on a last-second field goal. Green Bay is 5-2. The Packers won also on a last-second field goal against the Texans. Bears were idle. They're 4-2. Like, everybody is just jammed up right there. If the Vikings would have won this game, they'd still be 2 games clear of everybody else in the division. Instead, they're sitting here looking at basically anybody's ball game at this point. So a missed opportunity. I don't think we should sit here and say, sky is falling. Like I said at the beginning, I don't think we say that about this game, but I do think we have to be realistic. This was a little bit of a reality check. If you thought the Vikings were the best team in the NFC North, which I think they deserved to be called based on their point differential, based on who they had beaten so far going into the season, I think Detroit showed that they are still the team to beat in this division. I think that was borne out over 60 minutes. Even if this was a game the Vikings could have won, they were on their home field. They had numerous opportunities to win this game. Couldn't get it done. Detroit has more playmakers, made better plays when it mattered most. So it's going to be fascinating. It's a tough turnaround, quick turnaround. 4 days from now, Vikings have to travel cross country, go play the Rams, a desperate Rams team. I don't know how that's going to look. We'll see how Aaron Jones comes out of this game. We'll see where Cashman's at with his turf toe. Wouldn't expect him to play in that game, and they're going to miss him again in pass coverage in various ways that he impacts the game. I think they did okay in kind of covering things up, but the middle of the field was wide open, and Blake Cashman would have made a big difference in this game. So that, to me, is a big loss, and that's something you got to watch going forward, too. So can they rebound? Can they beat the Rams, get themselves to 6-1, kind of reestablish this? Don't let this become a losing streak. That'll tell me as much about this team as a loss, I think, to the Lions did. It's going to be a busy day in Minnesota sports, by the way. Don't forget the Lynx play in about 3.5 hours, Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. It's been a massive viewing experience, that game in New York. Who knows? Maybe I'll do another one of these after that game if things go a certain way. If you're watching right now and you didn't check out the Daily Delivery special edition with the Timberwolves preview, that went live yesterday. We'll be on with Royce tomorrow morning, so lots of good stuff. Appreciate you guys checking out the live stream. Again, Vikings had a chance. It's a lamentable loss, but I think you can be mad. You can be frustrated. I think you can want things to go a certain way. Every once in a while, a game like this is going to go against you, though. You're not going to win all the close ones. They'd won all the close ones so far this season. They didn't get it done today. They didn't make the play that they've made in the last few times. Intercepting Aaron Rodgers in London, making the plays against San Francisco to close that game out, things like that. They didn't make that play today, and that's why they lost.